I'm your host, Queen Everlena, and this is QEB. Today we're going to be talking to Dr. Fatoki. Dr. Fatoki, you're going to give me all the 411 on eating right, right? For 2013?
Yes.
All right. So first, I know you got a new book that's out. Is this your first book?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow, that's exciting. So what inspired you to start writing?
Well, I was trying to look for a way to reach more patients as far as nutrition and health. So I started out blogging, and from the book developed from the blog. So it's just trying to do the same thing that I tell my patients when they come to the clinic. So that's what I was trying to put out so that I could reach more people and then also spend a little less time explaining it to the different patients when I saw them.
Oh, I can imagine that. Okay, well, we love books and we love good reading. Now, your book is entitled, it's all in the 1/3, correct?
Yeah, it's all about the 1/3.
The 1/3. Okay, so now what does that refer to? Are we talking about water? Is it a specific measurement with fat versus muscle? What is exactly the 1/3?
It's a way of categorizing the different major groups of foods, but unlike using the fat like most other diets use, the 1/3 involves doing equal amounts of protein, carbohydrates, and salads and vegetables. So it's doing 1/3 of each one without worrying about the fat.
Ah, okay, cool. So which would you say is your favorite? You more of a salad guy or fruit guy or vegetable guy?
Well, what I advocate is to strike an equal balance between all three.
Okay.
So I mean, I love meat, so I eat quite a bit of meat. But as far as fruits are concerned, I think the body was only designed to use the fruits when they're in season. So if the fruits are not in season, I generally wouldn't eat it. Vegetables, so just whatever vegetables I can get. But the goal is to do equal amounts of all the three groups.
Okay. Now, does your book just only touch on nutrition, or does it talk about exercise to complement this nutrition?
It talks about exercise, but the part with exercise, when it comes to weight loss, exercise is very ineffective for weight loss. It only accounts for about 20% of the weight a person loses. But exercise is good because it does other things for the body. It helps your mental and overall health, and it also helps your joints. But if you look at it this way, a bag of M&Ms, for example, has about 250 calories. It's going to take at least 45 minutes of exercise to burn that off. So it's a lot easier just to avoid eating the M&Ms than it is to say you're going to eat it and go exercise it off.
Okay.
But the exercise that I advocate for people is to do what is fun for you. Because if it's not fun for you, you can only do it for a short while before you get sick and tired of it.
Right.
And the example I use, my brother, he lives in St. Louis. Every time he gets like a 40, 50-degree weather, he's out there playing golf. I don't like golf. There's nothing he could do to get me out to play golf. But I like playing volleyball, so even like there are days when I get off a plane at 10, 11 o'clock on Friday night, I go straight to the gym to go play volleyball till 2, 3 in the morning, and still get up to go to work at 8 o'clock the next day. But if I wasn't having fun doing it, I wouldn't do it.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. So what would you say is the biggest mistake people make in regards to dieting?
Well, one of the biggest things that people do is going on a diet to begin with, because again, you can only do it for so long before you get tired of it. And number two is that most of us eat the same 10 to 20 food items on a regular basis, and those are what I see as the problem. Because again, as long as you keep doing the same thing, you get the same results.
Exactly.
So those are the things you need to change, not the things you do once in a while. But if you go on a diet, you only do the diet for a short while before you go back to your old ways, and then you end up getting the weight back.
Okay.
And then another common misconception that you hear everything is you hear all this talk about low fat, but I don't believe that the fat in the diet is the problem. And the reason I say that, I'm yet in my 20-something years to meet a patient who goes around eating fat or drinking oil.
Okay.
That doesn't taste too good, unless you put plenty of sugar or salt in it. But rather than blame the problems on the sugar or the fat or the salt, they blame it on the fat. That just doesn't taste good. And for the past 50 years, we've been on this low-fat kick. The more we've done the low-fat, the more people have developed diabetes, obesity, heart disease, and all those other problems. So from my experience and in my opinion, the fat is not the problem. The fat in the diet is not the problem.
Okay, or a way of life. Okay, so what advice would you give the school system? Because, of course, our eating habits are something that we start off at a young age. Do you have any programs or, advice for the primary schools?
Well, one thing that I see, again, is that some of the information that's out there, I believe is wrong. What I see as a problem is the processed foods, the sugar, and also there's this talk about skim milk, instead of whole milk. But the way that I see it, the problems are the processed foods, because again, you have the human body that has not changed in thousands of years. So whatever food the body was meant to use has been around as long as we've been around. We are making all these new foods, but none of us have the power to modify the body to use the new foods, and that's where most of these problems are coming from.
Okay, now that's
an interesting. For example, whole milk is what comes out of a cow, not skim milk or 2% or 1% milk. For them to turn it into 1% or 2% of skim milk, they've processed it. The body was never designed to use anything like that. And it's the same way you look at the natural foods. One goes around craving sugar cane or beets, but you turn it into sugar, people can't stay away from it. No one goes around craving cocoa beans until you turn it into chocolate. So again, you process it, it becomes something different. You can, for the natural foods, you can only eat so much before you get sick and tired of it. Your body will tell you when to stop. So as far as for the school system, the advice I say is that the more natural the foods, the better. The problem with kids not wanting to eat vegetables has to do with the way we cook it, because we are so worried about fat. They don't want to put any seasoning or put butter or cook it with oil, which will make it taste a little better. And that, I don't see that as the problem. It's more the processed foods and the sugar and the low-fat milk and things like that we see. From my clinical experience, one of the things I've noticed in my practice is that people who have high triglycerides level, that they drink a lot of low-fat or skim milk, or they're eating a lot of sugar. Okay, but those are things that I see, even though for years I never figured that out either. And then they're telling people, well, you need to eat or take fish oil to lower your triglycerides. But it never worked until I started paying close attention to what my patients ate. And then I was able to have them make those changes, and within 3 months you see a remarkable improvement.
All right. Okay, well, Dr. Fatoki, that's all the time we have, but we definitely going to have to follow up on that with you. You definitely have inspired me to take a closer look at the way that I'm eating, and definitely to try to eat more natural and more organic. I try to get organic when I can, but it's a slow process, changing, going from what you used to and then changing to something else. They usually say it takes 21 days to kick a habit, but I'm gonna try.
And again, it's just a lifestyle change. So even if you go from eating or drinking 2 cans of soda every day to drinking 1 can every other day, it's not a lifestyle change, and you'll still notice an improvement. So what I advocate is not to tell people what they cannot do, but just to teach them how to do what they already do in a better and a more sensible way.
All right. Where can everyone find you, Dr. Fatoki?
Well, I have a blog, and it's called nofatmd.com.
All right, NoFat.
And I also have offices in Chicago. Then we have an online weight loss program called practicalweightmanagement.com. And my book is available on Amazon also.
All right. I'm your host, Queen Everlena, and that was QEB.
Thanks, Queen.
You're welcome.